Hi, before the video starts, I just want to say that I am not filming this on a actual camera, so the quality may be a little bit different, but please be kind. Thank you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this past spring, I really got into DC. I watched the Dark Knight trilogy, and I had been watching parts of Smallville. And I was hyped for the new Superman movie. So I was familiar with the property, but I didn't know most things about it. Now, I have two brothers, and I grew up watching a bunch of DC shows, like Batman the Animated Series, Young Justice, the original Teen Titans, and Teen Titans Go, and a couple of other ones. But I was thinking about Batman the Animated Series one day, so I started watching it again, and forgot how awesome it was. I would watch this show until like 12 a.m. And since I wanted to learn more about DC animated projects, as soon as I got home, I go to boarding school, I dove right into everything I could, from animated movies to the shows, and spent the entire summer watching DC stuff, specifically the ones from the DCAU. Now you're probably thinking, Keely, what is the DCAU? Well, I'm here to tell you about it. The DC Animated Universe, or the DCAU, was a shared universe based on DC Comics properties and media franchises produced by Warner Brothers Animation, starting with Batman the Animated Series in 1992 and ending with Justice League vs. the Fatal Five in 2019. During the years, the franchise received praise for its storytelling, voice acting, animation, and maturity. Many of the shows have gone on to be considered some of the greatest cartoons of all time, and even influenced the mainstream DC Comics in various ways, like new characters, revamped backstories, and character designs. So, in today's video, we're going to talk about the TV shows in this universe. I will do the movies in another video, if you all want me to. I'm going in release order for when the shows came out, instead of chronological order. The shows in this universe aired from 1992 until 2006 on channels like Fox Kids, the WB, Kids WB, there are two different channels, and of course Cartoon Network. Now, before we start, I have a few things to say. 1. This universe is different from the DC animated movie universe, or the Tomorrowverse. Just want to put that out there. 2. Teen Titans is technically not included in this universe. We'll get back to this later. And other shows like The Batman, Crypto the Superdog, Batman the Brave and the Bold, and Green Lantern the Animated Series are not in this universe. Alright, let's get into it. In 1990, after the success of the Tiny Toons series, Warner Brothers Animation president Gene McCurdy announced to the animation team that Warner wanted to develop several of its licenses, including Batman. Following this news, Bruce Timm was tasked with designing Batman, and Eric Radomski was assigned to design the sets. After the success of the 1989 movie, the animators felt inspired to draw the character in a similar style. You have to remember, before the 1989 movie, people didn't see Batman as this serious character. They saw him as kind of a joke. The crew eventually worked on a short called The Dark Knight's First Night and finished in 6 weeks and pitched it to Fox. They took inspiration from the 1940s Superman series and animated with Dong Yang animation for character designs. Apparently, they would sketch the backgrounds for Gotham City on black paper with a white pencil, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. So, after 2 years of development, animation, and voice acting, Batman the Animated Series officially debuted on Fox Kids on September 5th, 1992, with the first episode On Leather Wings. Though, according to production order, The Cat and the Claw was the first on TV, or it aired first on TV before On Leather Wings. I think people forget how influential this show was not only to Batman, but to DC in general. So here's a list of things that were created or started because of Batman the Animated Series. Number 1, Harley Quinn debuted in the episode Joker's Favor, and then she was added to the comics in 1993. Yes, she was partially added to the comics because of the success of this show. Number 2, Mr. Freeze's backstory was changed to be more tragic, with him trying to find a cure for his wife who was cryogenically frozen. This episode, Heart of Ice, won the Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Writing in an Animated Program. Number 3, Zatanna's first appearance in cartoon, with her episode Zatanna airing in 1993. She had previously never been in a cartoon, so this was her first time. Number 4, the voice cast includes Kevin Conroy as Batman, Mark Hamill as the Joker. Yes, the Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, plays the Joker. Arlene Sorkin as Harley Quinn, Lauren Lester as Robin, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred, sorry, that was kind of a mouthful, and Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon. They would go on to voice these characters for several decades in many different projects, like movies, TV shows, and video games. Number 5, Condiment King's first appearance is in the episode Make 'Em Laugh. He was later in the Lego Batman movie. And Ra's al Ghul's first cartoon appearance is in the episode Off Balance. Fun fact, the Riddler in this show is voiced by John Glover, who played Lionel Luthor on Smallville. Smallville will be mentioned a few times throughout this video, so be prepared. Batman the Animated Series was positively received upon its first episode, and the show has earned its place in pop culture.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman!
For its storytelling, animation, voice acting, and faithfulness to the comics, and is considered to be one of the best cartoons of all time, and is one of my favorite cartoons, and was my introduction to Batman. For some reason, they renamed the show The Adventures of Batman and Robin for season 2, with the new Batman Adventures being considered the 3rd and the 4th season on home media releases, although it's completely separate. Oh, and my favorite episode is Baby Doll because the plot is kind of insane and I love it. I feel like it would be out of like a Criminal Minds episode. Now, normally I would talk about Mask of the Phantasm next, but that will come in a later video. Following the success of Batman the Animated Series, in 1996, Superman the Animated Series debuted on Kids WB and ran from 1996 until 2000. And, like its predecessor, it received acclaim for the animation, voice acting, writing, maturity, and modernization of the title character's comic book mythos. So unlike Batman the Animated Series, I never watched this show before this summer, and I fell in love with it. I found Clark to be very funny and entertaining.
The truth is, I'm actually Superman in disguise, and I only pretend to be a journalist in order to hear about disasters as they happen and then squeeze you out of the byline.
But Lois was the standout just because I found her to be hilarious.
Look, Smallville, nothing against you, but even as a kid, I never liked babysitting.
Even though she could be kind of mean sometimes. Of course, my favorite episodes are the Batman episodes, with the Batman the Animated Series voice cast reprising their roles for these episodes, and the voice actors for this show would of course go on to play these characters in multiple DC projects, including Tim Daly as Superman / Clark Kent. Then we got Dana Delaney as Lois Lane, who has been voicing Lois the longest, across 17 years. David Kaufman as Jimmy Olsen. George DiPinzanta, I'm a dumb American, please forgive me, as Perry White. Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor, and Nicole Tom as Supergirl / Kara Danvers. An interesting fact When Jack Kirby unfortunately passed away in 1994, the animators thought it would be a cute tribute to include the Fantastic Four and Nick Fury in a funeral scene because Kirby designed them. But they were later removed for re-airings and DVD releases. Many speculated copyright issues and using Marvel's characters' likeness, and since the two companies are big rivals, this could be the reason for the deletion. Whoa. However, when the show was released on Blu-ray and streaming on HBO Max, the original version was used. And my favorite episode, aside from the Batman ones, is Target, because it shows how much Clark/Superman cares for Lois, in my opinion. So this is technically a continuation to Batman the Animated Series, and it aired on Kids WB from 1997 until 1999. The same voice cast returned, plus Barbara Gordon / Batgirl being voiced by Tara Strong, and Matthew Valencia as Tim Drake / Robin. But there were some changes to the animation to align with the more simplified aesthetic of Superman the Animated Series, allowing for more fluid animation, and to update the designs for the new series' kind of darker tone. Or the real reason that it happened was the original show was really expensive to animate. Nonetheless, many characters received these redesigns, including Bruce Wayne / Batman, the Joker, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Scarecrow, Killer Croc, Two-Face, Penguin, and Clayface. Unlike the previous show, this show gives more focus to Batman's supporting characters, which includes fellow crime fighters like Robin, Tim Drake, Nightwing, and Batgirl, among others. Since this show was airing around the same time Superman the Animated Series was, Kids WB had this crossover kind of show called the New Batman and Superman Adventures. And since a fair amount of these characters were appearing in each other's shows, and also this is how they would collaborate on home media releases. And my favorite episode of the New Batman Adventures is Sins of the Father, because I love me some Tim Drake, and I thought this was a really good introduction for his character. Okay, so I am super excited to talk about this show. Batman Beyond aired from 1999 until 2001, airing most episodes on Kids WB and one episode on Cartoon Network. This show follows teenager Terry McGinnis as he becomes the new Batman for the city of Gotham in the near future, after Bruce has a heart attack and almost uses a gun on a criminal, something he vows to never do since a gun killed his parents. So he gives up the role and retires, but becomes Terry's mentor, while Terry becomes Bruce's assistant to hide his secret identity from his friends and family. Along the way, he learns to balance his teenage lifestyle along with being Batman. Again, I didn't watch this show before this summer, and I loved it. This is one of my favorite Batman projects. I love how it's set in the future and showing how someone else handles being Batman. I also love all the new villains who appear. I think they're really cool. Kevin Conroy returns to voice Bruce Wayne, while Will Friedle, who's I would say most known for Boy Meets World and Kim Possible, in my opinion, voices Terry. There are a few crossover episodes that includes Terry's Batman, like The Call, which is in Season 3, includes a futuristic Justice League with Superman as the leader, the Static Shock Season 4 episode Future Shock, where Static is sent 40 years into the future and meets Terry's Batman, and twice in Justice League Unlimited, first in the two-parter The Once and the Future Thing, Part 2, where the current Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern, Jon Stewart, travel back in time and travel into the future to stop a time-traveling villain. While in the future, they meet Terry's Batman, a future Static Shock, and Warhawk. And the second time in the episode Epilogue, which serves as the series finale to Batman Beyond. It takes place 15 years after Batman Beyond started, in which Amanda Waller reveals to Terry, now in his early 30s, that he is Bruce's biological son. She grew to respect Batman after he sat and waited with a little girl named Ace who was dying. She then realized that there needs to be another Batman. So she used nanotechnology to ensure that Bruce's DNA overwrote the DNA in Warren McGinnis's reproductive cells. Warren McGinnis is originally Terry's biological father. Fun fact, this is Michael Rosenbaum's first DC project. He voiced Ghoul in the tie-in movie Return of the Joker. He plays another character in this show, I just cannot remember for the life of me, so I apologize. Michael will be appearing a lot throughout this video, so be prepared. And my favorite episode is The Last Resort because it reminds me of the stories of kids being taken in the middle of the night from their homes and being placed into an institution. Also, when I say, I'm Batman, this is who I'm talking about.
Check out.
I want a divorce.
So this is another show I am super excited to talk about. Static Shock aired on Kids WB from 2000 until 2004. This show follows 14-year-old Virgil Hawkins, who uses the identity of Static after exposure to a mutagen gas during a gang fight, which gave him electromagnetic powers. This was the first time an African-American superhero was the titular character on their own broadcast animation series. Naturally, I was not alive when this was airing, but it was a big deal, and because of that, the show received acclaim for its representation of a nerdy black superhero and its ability to tackle relevant social issues like racism and family dynamics in an engaging way. A lot of people also found Virgil to be a very charming and resourceful protagonist. There are also 2 episodes that handle serious topics very well. The episode Jimmy, which handles school shootings and the impact on them and kind of what you can do to prevent it. And the episode where the rubber meets the road, which talks about dyslexia and the struggles that come along with having it. I personally found this to be the most relatable episode in my opinion, considering I have an LD and I struggled with reading for a very long time. Although I personally do not have dyslexia. Phil Lamar plays Virgil, and he's actually the voice of Green Lantern, or Jon Stewart's Green Lantern in the Justice League shows, so I thought that was funny. Jon Stewart actually appears in an episode, and Phil was basically just talking to himself as 2 different characters, which I think is very impressive. And Jason Marsden plays his friend Richie, aka Gear. Marsden is in a fair amount of other shows in this universe as well, but I do not know every character's name, so I apologize. So I had heard of this show before, but I'd never watched it. So like most of the shows in this video, this was my first time seeing it, and I fell in love with it. This show is so cool. I love the characters. I think Virgil is hilarious.
And I'm Beyonce.
And the theme song slaps. Little Romeo's version, though, is just chef's kiss. I love how they portrayed being a teenager in this show because it feels very accurate. And even though I'm not a person of color, I still think that the storylines I mentioned earlier were handled very well considering this was an early 2000s show. So I am jealous of all of you who got to grow up with this show, and it makes me so happy seeing a black superhero that so many people love. Please, if you haven't watched this show, go check it out. It's true magic, and I want more Static content in the future. Like most of the shows in this universe, there are multiple crossovers with other heroes, those being Batman and Robin, Tim Drake, the Justice League, minus Wonder Woman, and Superman, and of course, like I mentioned earlier, Batman Beyond. And here are some fun facts about the show. Again, the GOAT, Michael Rosenbaum, is here. He plays Trapper, a villain who hates Static, and someone who hates Virgil. And he reprises his role as Wally West in the Justice League episode. And my favorite episode is Romeo in the Mix. I love Little Romeo's inclusion in the episode, and him having to save Static, I thought was really cute. The Zeta Project aired on Kids WB from 2001 until 2002 and is a spin-off from the Batman Beyond episode Zeta. This is the shortest show in the universe, only having 2 seasons and 26 episodes. This show follows Zeta, a humanoid robot designed to carry out covert assassinations on behalf of the National Security Agency. When Zeta discovers that one of his targets is innocent, he experiences an existential crisis about the goodness and values of life. Following his epiphany, he abandons his mission and goes rogue, and he tries to find his creator, Dr. Selig. Zeta is pursued by a team of NSA agents, led by Agent Bennett, and aided by a 15-year-old runaway, Rosalina Rowan. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Zeta is basically like a shape-shifting robot because he can, like, holographically disguise himself to take on the appearance of anyone he pleases. This is actually how he's introduced in Batman Beyond, because he starts kidnapping people and taking their identities. So this was the only show I didn't watch every episode for this video. I am a senior in high school, please cut me some slack. But I did watch a few episodes, and I watched the Batman Beyond crossover episode. But I do think he is a very fun character. He cares about Ro, which is very sweet, and I think Ro is a really cool character. The Zeta Project has a notable following of fans who enjoyed its character and the themes throughout it. Considering it's one of the less popular or forgotten shows in the DCAU compared to its more iconic counterparts, but it did receive some criticism for its brighter visual style and the disconnect from like the main DCAU. But many viewers still enjoyed the action along with the protagonist and how like the dynamic between Zeta and Ro was, which I think honestly, if you do watch the show, you can see the two of them have a very nice relationship. So, some fun facts about the show is that Dietrich Bader, who voices Zeta, he would later go on to voice Batman, starting with Batman the Brave and the Bold, and he actually still voices Batman to this day. And again, Michael Rosenbaum is here. He voices Agent West. However, probably my favorite fun fact about this show is that Kurtwood Smith voices Agent Bennett.
Morons just hung vacancy signs on your asses, and my foot's looking for a room.
And I think he's perfect for the role, but every time I hear him talk, I think of like Red Foreman. And my favorite episodes are Wired Part 1 and 2 because I believe it shows how much that Ro and Zeta care for each other. And I truly think that is kind of the back burner for this show and just how the dynamic goes. It's nice to see like how the two of them care for each other a lot. It's adorable. Alright, we are finally here, and I am so excited. Justice League ran from November 17th, 2001 until May 29th of 2004, and is the first show in the universe not to air on Kids WB. This instead aired on Cartoon Network, along with its sequel series, Justice League Unlimited. Again, most of the voice actors came back to reprise their roles, with George Newbern replacing Tim Daly as Superman. And then the already existing voice actors / actresses for this universe coming in to voice some pretty notable characters, like Kevin Conroy as Batman, Marie Canales Barrera as Hawkgirl, or as I like to call her, the mom from Wizards of Waverly Place, George Newbern as Superman, Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman, Phil Lamar as Green Lantern, Jon Stewart, Carl Lumbly as John Jones, Martian Manhunter, and of course, Michael Rosenbaum as the Flash, Wally West. Each episode deals with the Justice League or certain members of the Justice League, normally taking on a villain, getting captured, and then defeating the villain. Also, here's some notes I took while watching. 1. Batman is the absolute GOAT because he is saving everybody's ass left and right. 2. Batman and the Flash have some of my favorite lines, and I think that Kevin Conroy and Michael Rosenbaum's delivery is just pure magic.
I'm a rich kid with issues. Lots of issues.
Hey, monkey boy! Why don't you go climb a skyscraper?
I love a fair amount of the characters, and Hawkgirl really made me want to punch my laptop in the series finale. I'm not going to spoil it, but if you know, you know. Naturally, this show received acclaim for its writing, characters, and animation, with season 2 considered to be the best season of any DCAU show. And like I said, the humor in this show is just top tier.
What are you looking at? Huh?
And here are some of my favorite facts about the show. Almost every episode, except for the Christmas episode, is a two-parter. My queen, Lois Lane, shows up in a few episodes, with Dana Delaney reprising her role as Lois. And there's an episode where they pay homage to the Marvel superhero team, the Defenders. And the episode Wild Cards is a hidden crossover with Teen Titans. Now, I said earlier in this video that we would come back because I did say that Teen Titans is technically not in this universe, but this is a little hidden crossover considering the entire cast of the original Teen Titans voices the Royal Flush Gang in this episode. And each of the characters that they voice is supposed to look like the Teen Titans voice actors, or what they did look like. And I just think that's really cute and funny, so, because I love that voice cast. And my favorite episode is Injustice for All, because I love seeing all the villains interact with each other, and it's just great. Oh, and Batman is basically just making fun of the entire time. And honestly, I gotta respect the man for doing it. And the last show we will be covering today is Justice League Unlimited, which is a sequel series to Justice League. This ran from July 31st, 2004 until May 13th of 2006 on Cartoon Network. Like I mentioned, this is just a continuation of Justice League, but it includes a lot more characters like Green Arrow and Black Canary, and having certain episodes revolve around those characters and their backstories. Per usual, the cast came back to reprise their roles. Now, from what I could find online, people seem to like this better than its predecessor, and even Bruce Timm, one of the head writers for the universe in general, said this is his favorite, because I think why that is that there are more characters to explore and talk about, which I think is really creative and cool. Now, I like both shows, but I will say the writing in this show particularly is really strong. I love all the new characters, Black Canary and Supergirl in particular, because they're just icons, but it's still just as funny, if not funnier, than the original.
Am I blue?
It's hard to pick one of my favorite episodes, so here's my top 5. 1, kid stuff, because it's so funny to kind of see like some of the Justice League as kids, specifically Batman. He's like a teenage girl, I'm convinced. Number 2, the Once and the Future Thing Part 2, mostly because Terry McGinnis is in it, but you will never hear me complain about him. Number 3, Epilogue, because again, Terry's in it, but it also has my favorite Batman moment of all time, where Batman just sits with Ace and waits for her to peacefully die. And it's just like, I don't know, man, like, that's like, it's so emotional. Like, I want to like cry just talking about it. Continuing on though, Ancient History is in number 4 because it shows the aftermath of John and Shira's breakup from the original show. They dated. But I think it's a interesting like take. And number 5, The Great Brain Robbery, simply because the entire plot of this episode is very on the nose, if you understand the joke. And of course, here are some fun facts. Mark Hamill reprises his role not as the Joker, but as the trickster from the Flash show from the 90s. A real-life married couple voiced Ma and Pa, or Jonathan and Martha Kent, Superman's adopted parents, and their names are Mike Farrell and Shelby Farbs. And due to the influence of Batman the Animated Series and the then upcoming Dark Knight film series, there was a limit on how much Batman content could be in this show. This is the same problem that Smallville ran to, because originally a younger version of Bruce Wayne was supposed to be in the show instead of Oliver Queen. And speaking of Smallville, so I said this show would be mentioned throughout the video, so let me explain what I am talking about. Smallville is a show that follows a teenage Clark Kent as he grows up and learns to become Superman. The show ran on the CW from 2001 until 2011. And Mr. Michael Rosenbaum is not only the voice of Wally West and a bunch of other characters in the shows I mentioned, but he also plays Lex Luthor in this show. His portrayal of Lex has widely been regarded as one of the best portrayals ever. And honestly, it is. So, the joke I was talking about when it came to the Justice League Unlimited episode, The Great Brain Robbery, is about the plot. In the episode, Lex and Wally switch brains by accident, and since Michael voices Wally and plays Lex in Smallville, his dialogue and manner of speaking is a reference to his portrayal.
If nothing else, I can at least learn the Flash's secret identity. I have no idea who this is.
So this episode is basically just one big meta joke, and I find it hilarious. Both shows were airing around the same time, so I think that's why this joke was included. And Michael actually went on to voice one of Lex's guards in the new Superman movie. So that is all the shows in this universe. I am so glad I was able to talk about it with you guys, and let me know in the comments what your favorite show is. And if you want me to do the movies in another video, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!